New at 9, the family of a Chicago man shot and killed driving his child to school is speaking out after the alleged gunman is identified. And as the manhunt intensifies, new details about that suspect are being revealed.
Are any details about the hashtags and the movements and the celebrity tweets about this good brother? I'm talking about a good brother. He's a twin. He was a bartender. Him and his brother had an online presence. They were social media influencers, the Bar Twinders or something like that, Bar Twins, and just a good brother, hard-working brother. Nothing in the game, thugging, streets, nothing, none of that. Simply paused at a green light. The light turned green. He didn't move fast enough. The little thug got out of his car, walked up and blew his brains out in front of his daughter, and ran back to his car and sped off into the night. But great police work. Police wouldn't let up on this one because it was just such an egregious kill. The detectives, salute to the detectives, because they wouldn't give up on this one. They were like, nah, we gonna find this guy.
New at 9, the family of a Chicago man shot and killed driving his child to school is speaking out after the alleged gunman is identified. And as the manhunt intensifies, new details about that suspect are being revealed.
WGN's Kelly Davis is live at the 12th District Police Station on the near west side with more on that. Kelly?
Good evening. I spoke with Miller's family today, who tells me the only way they'll get closure in his death is if they get justice. Well, today, identifying a suspect in this case brings them one step closer to what they need.
Already 29 days in, and we can't believe that he's not here.
A family continues to mourn the loss of a loving son and devoted father.
We've been able to put up a facade and look happy, but otherwise, we'd like something done.
Nearly 1 month after Travell Miller's murder, police issue a community alert. They're searching for 18-year-old Avanta Ware, who they say shot and killed him.
Now, this kid is a 17-year-old career criminal. So, if you know anything about the juvenile system in America, you'd have to be a really, really, really good person. Like, salt of the earth person, to not take advantage of it. It's so lenient. These teens, they get arrested for carjacking somebody, they're out the same day. They get arrested for a robbery, they're out the same day. The vast majority of those cases are never even prosecuted, meaning they don't even stand in front of a judge. The judge doesn't even say, all right, don't let me see you in my courtroom. Nothing happens. They just throw it out. No paper, case dismissed. Those are terms they use for that. Just throw it out. It's just, it's gone. It didn't happen. So these kids in Chicago, D.C., Baltimore, Birmingham, yada, 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 they know that if they want a car to joyride, that they can just carjack somebody. They're probably not going to get caught. But if they do, by some chance, get caught, nothing's going to happen. And then they know that if they're tipped off at somebody, and they want to shoot them, they're probably going to get away with it. But if they get caught in Chicago, chances are nothing's really going to happen to them. And even if it does, they're going to get like 3-4 years because of the prosecutor so lenient. So these kids up there, anything they don't like, they're going to shoot you for it. And it's like that a lot of places. and nobody wants to talk about it, that it's because of the leniency of the juvenile system. These kids thought they were going to get hard time for the things they did. Crime wouldn't disappear. It wouldn't stop amongst this demographic, this youth, these ebony youths, these sun teens. But it will go down.
They're searching for 18-year-old Avanta Ware, who they say shot and killed him.
I did feel like people would probably be too afraid to say anything, and they weren't.
The 33-year-old was stopped in traffic on Chicago and Sacramento in Humboldt Park. He was taking his daughter to school when police say Ware got out of another car, walked up, and opened fire.
You can't see something like that and not say who in their right mind will kill somebody 7:30 in the morning on their way taking their daughter, 7-year-old daughter, to school.
Miller was shot 4 times as he shielded his daughter from the shooter.
But anytime she thinks about her father, she can only hear and picture his face while he's dying, telling her to duck, 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 baby.
Police say Ware was last seen driving a silver 2001 Pontiac Grand Prix with no plates and possible damage. Miller's family is hoping the community will step up once again and turn this man in.
In my case, I'm grateful, and for my community, I'm happy that they stood up. And for my family, we're waiting for the justice.
Ware is also wanted on 2 counts of carjacking in Berwyn. Police say if you know where he is, call them.
So he's wanted on 2 counts of carjacking in Berwyn, another city out there. So here's the thing. If he didn't commit this murder, that's, a pretty big deal in Chicago. As much as a murder can be a big deal, because 4 or 5 people get murdered every day. And it's been 29 days since this happened. But pretty high profile case in the Windy City. If it was just those 2 carjackings, I promise you, he wouldn't have done a day in jail for that. Ankle monitor, trial in 2023. That's how they're doing it now. They're sending you home with an ankle monitor, and your trial's in 2023. And you have plenty of time to intimidate the witnesses. You have plenty of time to get people to recant their testimony. If he survives that long, because, he's out there in the streets ripping and running. But that's what they're doing now. Ankle monitor, trial in 2023. Trial date.
We begin with that family from Bucktown who packed up and moved from the city after that carjacking.
Our Jermont Terry live in Bucktown tonight. Jermont.
Eric and Brad, this family called Chicago home for 30 years and lived here in Bucktown for 21 of them. But all it took was one violent incident in their garage, which forced them to move out of the city.
Here's the thing. You have to really digest that. The privilege there. And I'm not talking about glacier glider privilege in the sense that you may be thinking about it. Oh, some stupid crap. I'm talking about the privilege to where you get one violent act done to you in 30 years. Because of your distance from the Sun community. So people in the Sun community have had, it was one lady had 5 kids, 4 of them were killed in Chicago. These people are constant. Just going to school in a city like Chicago, you're going to be assaulted. You might not call it assault. You may call it getting jumped or dudes hating, but they violently assaulted you, bro. Shot, survived. You know how many people survived gunshot wounds in Chicago? Every weekend is like 100 shot, 12 dead. So this glacier glider couple, because they don't live proximal to sun people, they've been able to read the paper, hear the news, just the scuttlebutt, know what's going on in their city and how dangerous it is, but moving in their circle and on their side of town, not the west side, not the south side, they've been shielded from that. Just don't go over there and you're fine. Well, then 2020 happened. And now the crime is all over Chicago. The Gold Coast, Michigan Avenue, the Loop, everywhere in Chicago. They've been unleashed. The Democrats have unleashed them, emboldened them. They're entitled. Your car is their entitlement, everything. Your life is their entitlement. In one incident, and they're like, I'm out.
We begin with that family from Bucktown who packed up and moved from the city after that carjacking.
Our Jermont Terry live in Bucktown tonight. Jermont.
Eric and Brad, this family called Chicago home for 30 years and lived here in Bucktown for 21 of them. But all it took was one violent incident in their garage which forced them to move out of the city. Now, the citywide surge in carjackings, the main reason that their zip code changed and why those in Bucktown are worried too. December 2020. David and Tina Ariallo, along with their daughter, become victims of this violent carjacking in Bucktown. The robbers shoot David in his arm while trying to protect his family.
We got lucky the first time.
Fast forward 9 months, the Ariallos no longer call Bucktown nor Chicago home.
We sat down and said, okay, look, this happened. Should we leave or should we try to stick it out? And we're like, but we don't see anything changing.
And for the record, I'm not telling these people that they should have stayed. I'm not saying they did the wrong thing by leaving. They should leave. It's a very dangerous city now. They pay exorbitant rent, exorbitant mortgage. It looks like it's a house. They were carjacked with their daughter, and the person shot the dad. Like, that's a very traumatic experience. He could have shot the daughter, and it would have just been another dead kid in Chicago, amongst many. Wouldn't have been a big headline. So they did the right thing. So I want you to always know that I even though I called it glacier glider privilege, I still think that, this was a smart move. Because, as she said, nothing is changing. Son prosecutor, son police chief, son mayor. The only one that wants to actually stop crime is the police chief. And he can't do anything because the prosecutor won't prosecute any of the cases when he arrests people. And the mayor is literally a BLM activist. So, yeah, they made the right decision leaving.
We sat down and said, okay, look, this happened. Should we leave or should we try to stick it out? And we're like, but we don't see anything changing.
Since the family's ordeal, CBS 2 crunched the numbers, and there have been 15 carjackings within a half mile of where they live.
We don't look at it like, good, we got out.
Instead, David and Tina question, when will it end?
For whatever reason, no one seems to be interested in stopping it.
We're seeing something unusual happen right now with this
Tuesday night, some of Ariallo's former Bucktown neighbors came out asking the same question. Area 14 officers trying to let anxious homeowners know they are aware of the spike.
Do you see any joking? You see any drum circles like they were like during the BLM riots of 2020? When most of the time they were having drum circles and poetry readings and chanting and doing a bunch of foolishness that wasn't going to amount to nothing. But ginning up hatred and division in the community, in America, in the country, and getting a certain demographic to vote out to the polls because, racism. But now, when it's something serious, look at them, rapt attention. They want answers. This is serious. They're not just scribbling graffiti all over the place and tearing up stores. No, they're like, yo, what's good? They're not going to tear this area up. They live here. They're not going to put graffiti all over the place. They're not going to block the streets and all that crap. They live here. This is their community. They value it. They just want the same people who they were protesting for last summer to be removed. Can't make this stuff up.
For whatever reason, no one seems to be interested in stopping it.
We're seeing something unusual happen right now with this
Tuesday night, some of Ariello's former Bucktown neighbors came out asking the same question. Area 14 officers trying to let anxious homeowners know they are aware of the spike. This year, there's been 34 carjackings in the Wicker Park Bucktown neighborhoods. There were only 15 during the same time frame of 2020. Are you scared? Actually, no.
Bruh, he lying. He don't want to say that because he amongst a bunch. Let me tell you that he's not lying. He's used to this level of violence. Let me change that. He's used to this level of violence. That's why he lives there with all those glacier gliders. Now what he left, what he fled, is following him to his new haven, his new hideout. And he's scared. But he's also used to it. So he's not like the glacier gliders where, like, this guy probably knows 10, 15 people have been murdered. You know what I mean? Wherever he's from, even if he's not from Chicago. If he went to public school in the city he's from, he knows 15, 30, 20, 45 people who've been murdered. Looks like he's 40. But yeah, he's scared that these son teens are starting to come to his neighborhood and have found out that his neighborhood is the new lick. Hey, y'all, man, they go up there. Man, we got 2 cars from over there last night, man. He's scared of that. That gossip going around the hood.
Are you scared? Actually, no. Yet Daryl Sykes understands the fears. After 10 years of owning his home in Bucktown, he's not ready to pack up, but he wants some action to make everyone feel safe.
Oh, everything is cyclical. There's highs and lows. It was bad before, it got better, and we're in a period where it's bad again. But we have to decide that we have to actually substantively do something different.
That's privilege. That's son man living around glacier glider privilege. It was bad before, then it got good. It never got good in those sun communities. It was bad, and now it's worse. The difference with these glacier glider communities, it's cyclical. Like, the sun teens will come terrorize them for a few years, and then the law crack down on them. Or more police patrols and, some cop and some task force will come through there and, shut everything down on that little neighborhood, and then it get better again. The Sun community is either bad or worse. Those are the only two options. We're trying to get the Sun community back to bad.
Everything is cyclical. There's highs and lows. It was bad before, it got better, and we're in a period where it's bad again. But we have to decide that we have to actually substantively do something different.
But the Arialos refused to take the second chance, especially when it came to the safety of their family. Now, CPD did tell neighbors that they are increased saturated patrols in this community in light of the spike of carjackings, but many of the neighbors said they fear that the criminals won't back down until they realize that they'll truly be punished for these crimes.
Did you hear that? These same people that were protesting to defund the police in this violent city because a man in Minneapolis had a heart attack in police custody are now have forced the cops to saturate their community with police, and are telling the cops that, look, man, they're not going to give up. You got to give them real penalties and real punishment. You got to lock these Sun men up for a long time, or they're not going to get it. Wow. And nobody says anything. Like, just last year, it was Sun men can do no wrong. Everybody's racist for judging them. You don't know them. You can't judge them. They're just... And we're talking about criminals too. We're not talking about this guy, Jamont Terry. They were talking about career criminals. Jacob Blake, career criminal. George Floyd, career criminal. Rayshard Brooks, and we're talking about guys been to the penitentiary multiple times. The pen. Breonna Taylor, a boss queen pen on these streets. And now a year later, it's like, man, you got to get these people stiff penalties and saturate the streets with cops. What?
But the Arialos refused to take the second chance, especially when it came to the safety of their family. Now, CPD did tell neighbors that they are increased saturated patrols in this community in light of the spike of carjackings, but many of the neighbors said they fear that the criminals won't back down until they realize that they'll truly be punished for these crimes. Reporting live in Bucktown tonight, Jermont Terry. Brad, back to you.
Jamont, thank you. Keep track of when and where carjackings are happening in your neighborhood. Just scan the QR code you see right there at the bottom of your screen. It will take you right to our carjacking tracker we've created on our website.
Okay, guys, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you take the $5 challenge. Just take the donation challenge, period. Support the channel. Salute to all you guys who are supporting the channel via PayPal, Cash App, or during the premiere as a super chat. Appreciate all you guys. Also, join me every Tuesday and Friday night. Now, next Friday, there'll be no show, but Tuesday and Friday night on Ock Nation TV. That's my other channel. Link is in the description box. Come through, hit the StreamYard link, and talk to me personally. And let's discuss what's going on. Now, to the carjacking tracker. So this is the carjacking tracker. So carjackings in the last 30 days, and they have them itemized as aggravated and non-aggravated. What's a non-aggravated carjacking? Well, that's when you cooperated and the guy was in a good mood. Because you can cooperate and they'll still pistol whip you or shoot you or throw you to the ground or grab you by your hair, choke you out or punch you or something like that. But non-aggravated is when you cooperate to a T and the guy's in a good mood. Aggravated is if you hesitate, if you're slow to move, if you don't understand, if you're nervous, if you freeze up. So, a lot of carjackings, Jack. Goodness gracious. And look at how many are in the northern part where the you know, where this is not supposed to be happening. Carjackings by month. Look at this. Look at this. Just look at this. Carjacking each year. Look at this. $2015. There's a lot of carjackings in 2015. About, 20 got up to about 50 a month by the end of 2015. By the end of 2016, it was up to 100 a month. By the end of 2018, it was, coming back down. And then 2020 happened. Now it's through the roof. And this is with saturated police in the streets. But a prosecutor that won't prosecute them once the police arrest them. A community that won't provide information to help the police arrest the ones that they can't get. And a culture that is just completely dysfunctional in every single aspect.